Someone asked that I do a handheld video talking about the various techniques. So that's a great idea. But you have some homework. And what the homework is I want you to try out these techniques. If there's something else you do differently, let me know in the comments. If there's something that specifically worked really well for you, let me know because I'm interested in this kind of stuff. It's really interesting to compare these kinds of notes. There's a possibility you may have found something that I completely missed, and I want to improve constantly. So right off the bat, my handheld is always on my left-hand side, accessed with my left hand. This video, and that also includes like on duty and things like that, I cheat by using a theorem switchback, and that's what this round little finger hole thing is with the clip, on a Mod Lite 18650 body with an OKW head. For me, this combination is just really provides the maximum amount of manipulation I can use with the light. And it's just conducive for that. So the reason I have everything on my left-hand side is because I need to keep my right hand free for my inert blue gun that clearly I carry every day. So, handheld techniques. In order for me to include the firearm into whatever thing I'm doing, I need to have a valid threat of death or serious bodily injury to myself or another. Until that happens, handgun stays put away in a holster, concealed, wherever. This is my main tool, the handheld. I use this constantly. If I'm in a parking lot, even if it's lit, I have this readily available and I might access it really quick to see something. So let's talk about those techniques I use. I did another video talking about the random manual strobing. With that was basically what it looked like is this. It's unpredictable. I also changed the orientation of the light to my body as I'm doing that. Similarly, if I'm walking through a lit area, I might not be moving the light as much, but I'm going to move the light to my advantage so I can see something better. If I'm in a darkened area where I'm not readily visible and I'm not trying to track someone down and take them into custody or whatever, I might still do some random flashes, but moving the light around is my friend. There's not one technique that trumps everything. So what I like to do with all of this is maintain fluidity, because in some situations, one technique's going to work better than another. So I want to switch to that. And I might find myself in a position using one technique and it's not to my advantage. Okay, got to remove that. So this is why it's important to be familiar with multiple techniques and be able to use them with efficiency and know when to do that. So I really like an FBI type hold. And it's not because I'm afraid someone is going to shoot at the light. It's because it's providing so much better control, and I can move the light around, and even keeping the light on, moving the light around helps me see things better. And typically, the circumstances where I'm doing this is at a distance. I'm making sure that I'm making sure that there's a reaction distance. So I want to start illuminating things far enough where I can positively identify there's a threat, and if I need to, then I can employ deadly force. So having the right tool available is definitely advantageous. But knowing how to glide from this to this, or using a modified cigar hold, because I'm cheating with a theorem, the switchback, it's kind of paramount, because there's a possibility you might go from cigar hold with the theorem and realize this is not conducive for my well-being. I need to switch it to something else and have better direct control over the light. So this is definitely one of those subjects I love, and I love exploring it. And it takes practice. It takes effort, because you can't just watch a video and go, "Oh, I know that, I can do that." You need to do it. You absolutely need to do it. So FBI hold. FBI hold for me is my most generic method I'm using, and I can use this both with and without firearm. When I start to go to more specific things, that's introducing the firearm. And there are some of these holds that are not conducive to having greater manipulation, greater control over the light. So one of the holds I really, really liked was a neck or a cheek, chin, I guess it's not chin, jaw index. And essentially I'm doing one of these. Now I found out early on, actually no, I was doing this pre-weapon light, or not weapon light, pre-optic. What I found early on using optic and this technique is light would reflect off the rear of the glass. That's not good because then I can't see the dot. So this is one of those things you want to learn before you actually have to use it in real life. So I learned a really good technique through Tom Gibbons' class. Instead of going here, and this is going to look silly, you're going up here. And so what this does is this allows you you have good control of the light, but it's not necessarily going to be reflecting back at you. It's pretty cool. Something to bear in mind also, with the use of a handheld, as long as it has sufficient output, that hotspot does not need to stay in the middle of the target or the threat. If it's providing sufficient light that you can positively identify, yeah, this is a valid threat, you're good. So let's go into like an FBI hold. It works. It allows some control over the direction. It definitely control over the output on and off. But with this hold, again, I don't need to have this perfectly. The light doesn't need to be perfectly centered on the target. It can be roughly in their area. As long as it's illuminating, we're good. Additionally, going from this to this takes nothing. Now, a bit more restrictive in the control of the light, but it definitely provides positives to your ability to shoot, is doing a modified cigar hold, which basically using the theorem is cheating. First step is to turn on the light, and then basically it's just coming around, and here we are. Again, the light does not have to be centered on the threat, but I'm kind of removing some of my control of the light, but I'm providing some support hand pressure on the gun itself. Not a bad take. Another is side by side. This still allows me to have that pressure or that control over the actual output. And then I can quickly switch if I need to, and while providing a bit of support. Though I'm doing all this with a weapon light attached, your decision on when to turn on that weapon light's up to you. I definitely don't advise doing a lot of momentary in conjunction with momentary with this, one or the other, because there's a possibility of mixing up. There's also a possibility of accidentally hitting the trigger, and we want to avoid that. So all the actual manipulation is going on with my handheld. Constant light is weapon light. I'm not searching with this. I'm searching with this. So again, these are things you need to see for yourself. These are things you need to try. There's a possibility you might be using one specific method. It's worked for you great forever, and you go into something that's completely different, and you realize, oh, this is not as good. I need to change methods. This is why you need to be fluid. This is why you need to have, you need to be well-versed in different techniques. Ultimately, though, figure out what works. Figure out what works best for you, because you might not like this. You might not like this. You might not like this. Yeah. Don't just use the weapon light as your only light source, though, because it's asking for problems. This handheld trumps weapon light, because this I can use anywhere. This, not so much. So that's it. Again, really interested to hear what your feedback on this is, what works best for you. Try it all out, report back. I'm anxious to hear. That's all. We'll talk to you later.